Namaste. In the last video, I have discussed what is history and is history a science or is it an art? In this video, let us discuss the nature and scope of history. History is the study of present in the light of the past. The present has evolved out of the past. Modern history enables us to understand how society has come to its present form so that one may intelligently interpret the sequence of events. The causal relationships between the selected happenings are unearthed that help in revealing the nature of happenings and framing of general laws. History is the study of man. History deals with man's struggle through the ages. History is not static. By selecting innumerable biographies and presenting their lives in the appropriate social context and the ideas in the human context, we understand the sweep of events. It traces the fascinating story of how man has developed through the ages, how man has studied to use and control his environment, and how the present institutions have grown out of the past. History is concerned with man in time. It deals with a series of events and each event occurs at a given point in time. Human history, in fact, is the process of human development in time. It is time which affords a perspective to events and lends a charm that brightens up the past. History is concerned with man in space. The interaction of man on environment and vice versa is a dynamic one. History describes about nations and human activities in the context of their physical and geographical environment. Out of this arise the varied trends in the political, social, economic and cultural spheres of men's activities and achievements. History is the objective record of happenings. Every precaution is taken to base the data on original sources and make them free from subjective interpretation. It helps in clear understanding of the past and enables us to take well-informed decisions. History is multi-sided. All aspects of the life of a social group are closely interrelated and historical happenings cover all these aspects of life, not limited only to the political aspect that had so long dominated history. History is a dialogue between the events of the past and progressively emerging future ends. The historian's interpretation of the past, his selection of the significant and the relevant events, evolves with the progressive emergence of new goals. The general laws regulating historical happenings may not be considered enough. Attempts have to be made to predict future happenings on the basis of the laws. History is not only narration but also analysis. The selected happenings are not merely narrated, the causal relationships between them are properly unearthed. The tracing of these relationships lead to the development of general laws that are also compared and contrasted with similar happenings in other social groups to improve the reliability and validity of these laws. Continuity and coherence are the necessary requisites of history. History carries the burden of human progress as it is passed down from generation to generation, from society to society, justifying the essence of continuity. History is relevant. In the study of history, events are analyzed through various contemporary sources and cause and effect relationship to trace their relevance to the understanding of the present life. History is comprehensive. According to modern concept, history is not confined to one period or country or nation. It also deals with all aspects of human life, political, social, economic, religious, literary, aesthetic and physical, giving a clear sense of world unity and world citizenship. Modern history has gone beyond the traditional status of an antiquarian and leisure time pursuit to a very useful and indispensable part of a man's education. It is more scientific and more comprehensive. It has expanded in all directions, both vertically and horizontally. Study of individual, communities and the societies are the subject of history. According to modern concept, history does not contain only the history of kings and queens, battles and generals, but the history of the common man, his house and clothing, his fields and their cultivation, his continued efforts to protect his home and hearth, and to obtain a just government, his aspirations, achievements, disappointments, defeats, and failures. It is not only the individual, but the communities and the societies are the subject of the study of history. History is a future-oriented study. Study of history deepens our understanding of the potentialities and limitations of the present. It has thus become a future-oriented study related to contemporary problems. For all these reasons, history has assumed the role of a human science. History follows scientific method of inquiry. History is a science in the sense that it pursues its own techniques to establish and interpret facts. Like other natural sciences such as physics and chemistry use various methods of inquiry like observation, classification, experiment and formulation of hypotheses and analysis of evidence before interpreting and reconstructing the past. History also follows the scientific method of inquiry to find out the truth. History uses scientific techniques without experimentation. Though historian uses scientific techniques, experiment is impossible since history deals with events that have already happened in the past, and the best thing with history is that it deals with the past and past is not available. As past is not available, so it uses scientific techniques without experimentation. We have just seen the nature of history, now let us see the scope of history. The scope of history is vast. It is the story of man in relation to totality of his behavior. The scope of history means the breadth, comprehensiveness, variety and extent of learning experiences provided by the study. History, which was only limited to the local saga, has during the course of century become universal history of mankind, depicting men's achievements in every field of life: political, economic, social, cultural, scientific, technological, religious and artistic, etc., and at various levels: local, regional, national and international. It starts with the past, makes present its sheet anchor and points to the future. Events like wars, revolutions, rise and fall of empires, fortunes and misfortunes of great empire builders, as well as the masses in general are all the subject matter of history. History is a comprehensive subject that includes history of geography, history of art, history of culture, history of literature, history of civilization, history of religion, history of mathematics, history of physics, history of chemistry, history of education, history of biology, history of atom, history of philosophy, in fact, history of any and every social, physical and natural science we are interested in. History today has become an all-embracing, comprehensive subject with almost limitless extent. If you want to know more on any of the related topics, please leave your topic in the comment box and I will come back with a video on it. If you have liked the video, please subscribe the channel so that you can get all the videos. Thank you.